Hello, my name is Kathy Carlson, owner-operator of Carlson Food Safety Consulting, and I'm going to go through the hierarchy of regulatory review layers for food safety and the fresh cut produce industry. First, we'll start with the ISO standards, which are international standards. The ones that relate most to food safety are 9001, that's your inspections, and 22000. That is your food processing, also called FSSC sometimes if you want to get certification. These were developed in the 1940s and the 1960s. And the biggest takeaway I would like to present here today are in the 9001, it's mostly for, like I say, the inspections, and this is for food processing. And in these ISO standards, there are two main things I want to bring out. One is the inspector is not allowed to give you any kind of suggestions or answers to any of the regulatory requirements. Otherwise, that would be a conflict of interest. Okay, and then the next thing is they're also looking for continuous improvement. And this is all put together as ISO standards with the intention of making your business a better business over time, as well as being able to sell to other markets. Okay, so from there, then we have here in the United States, we have certifying bodies, and we have a number of them. They can be commodity specific or in general. So what I mean by commodity specific is, for instance, avocados or cantaloupe, or the Leafy Greens Marketing Agreement, which does 14 lettuces. All right. We have the USDA, which is it does all crops, tree as well as plant, as well as fresh cut, and they even have one for sprouts. The different regulatory checklists that you can get are, there's one called GAP-GIP, Good Agricultural Practices, Good Handling Practices. There's one called the Harmonized GAP, and right now we're at 5.0. This is going to upgrade next year. And this is the one that most buyers are accepting or looking to work towards, because it is a harmonized checklist of all these other checklists, and more interesting, or more productive, or not productive, but more conducive to what the regular buyer is looking for. And what I mean by that, it could be Kroger's, it could be Safeway, it could be even Costco. They also have one called the GAP++, which is a GFSI equivalent. It has not been benchmarked yet. So that's GFSI. All right, speaking of that, then we also have Global GAP. They are benchmarked. They have one that is for North America, specifically, that is called the Harmonized Produce Safety Standard 1.2 at this point. Harmonized Produce Safety Standard. On top of that, then you also have like Primus. Their GFS is 3.2 at this point. Notice it's not GFSI. And others, including SQF, etc. This is where I do believe the NOP would fall under also, National Organic Program. Okay, so when I have somebody say, oh, I want to get GAP certified, or I want to get food safety certified for my buyer, the first question I ask is, which checklist will your buyer accept? For instance, the GAP GIP is like 15 pages long. This harmonized GAP is 27 to 30 pages long. The harmonized produce safety standard is 60 pages long, right? And they're all based on the good agricultural practices, right? Water, soil, surfaces, hygiene, and animal activity. Yep. Okay, so then these different checklists go into more depth in these different areas, and that is what is attracting the buyer. And that's why the buyer says, oh, well, I'll accept the basic GAPs, but in a year or two, I'd like to see them go to the harmonized GAP, or even the harmonized produce safety standard if you need a GFSI equivalent. All right, again, these certifying bodies follow this ISO standard, and they too, the inspectors, they cannot help you with any of the questions. They cannot give you ideas or options, because if they did, then they would be auditing their own work, and that is a conflict of interest. Likewise, they're looking for continuous improvement. So if maybe you got 70% or 80%, actually you need 80% to pass this one. If you got 80 or 85% and passed this one the last year, they're looking to see that you'll do better next year and get 90 or 100%. If you do not pass one of these questions, or if there's a reason for a corrective action to be written up, you're expected to respond to that corrective action in written form, as well as check your food safety program for any deficiencies or discrepancies, and then turn that corrective action in response to anything that was issued. The harmonized GAP has an interesting breakdown in that they have mandatory questions to which you have to get 100%, and those are indicated by a dot in the mandatory column. Otherwise, all other questions you need to get 80% or better to pass. The harmonized produce safety standard is 100%. You have to get 100% correct to pass. That's all I can think of right now. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. I'm at carlsonfsconsulting@gmail.com, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks.